design school, they told me that design is a problem-solving activity. I think that's bunk. I don't think design's about problems at all. Now, there are little aspects, puzzles, don't get me wrong, there's little puzzle aspects of it, but I don't think design is a problem. I think design is an opportunity. And if you think about it as an opportunity, as distinct from a problem, that creates an entirely different context for the work. This is an opportunity. Started out with a little sketch and some cut pieces of paper, and we presented it to the city, and they bought into it, and things just happened. It took on a life of its own. You ponder an idea, you consider it, you think about it, you work it, you noodle it, and all of a sudden it presents itself. And even after 35 years in the business, to me it's still kind of magic.
In college, I specialized and majored in drawing, and my medium of choice was pencil and charcoal. Did a lot of large-scale works, so large that I was known for taking up all the studio space walls. Drawing on, rolls of paper that were 8 feet in length and up to 10 feet high. It came natural for me to do something that was on a large scale.
Painting on a canvas is one thing, but painting on something that's 15 feet tall is another matter. It's 118 feet long. I know that. I measured myself when we first did the layout. So that's a lot of paint, you know. And there's only a handful of people who could do that. A handful, I mean like 5 in the whole United States. Plus he's just a wonderful personality and easy to work with, as opposed to maybe yours truly, you know.
We're two type A personalities. So you either get along really well or there's problems with that. But no, for the most part, everything was great.
These murals this is not a cheap date. It's a time-consuming, expensive, difficult process.
This is only the second, I believe, job that I've ever done in 25 years that I didn't design. But when approached from day one, they showed me the design, and it has gone through some minor changes here and there since, but for the most part, it's the same. I looked at it and said, this is awesome. You know, I'll certainly do it. It looked very similar in style to what I might have done myself.
Ironically, in college, my minor area of study was painting. I didn't like it as much at the time as drawing. And early in my career, I did a lot of illustration, and it just sort of evolved into painting. I am the most unorthodox artist anybody's ever going to meet. I will dip the same brush in 10 different colors because I just know I have a vision for what the color's going to look like. I start off with a palette of, on this job, probably about 25 colors. I'll use blacks and whites for various shades. I have my own style. Some people have called me realist. I'm not super realist because I want to keep that artistic gesture in there. But it's really hard to teach that. It's just a style that I've sort of adopted over the years. You know, just practice makes perfect. But in the actual job itself, there's so many colors and variations of browns and reds and earth tones in the opera house that I'm just like the happy painter, you know. I dip it in red, and I do this on whatever I'm using as a palette. I'll dip it in brown.
Okay, we're gonna do a happy little wrinkle here. There's your happy little wrinkle.
Now come on, be serious.
And now, happy little shine on the happy little lip.
I'm gonna paint a happy Bill Murray and a happy clock. And notice the little happy clouds behind the happy clock. Started doing the projection method years ago. The job was so large in a sense that I felt it would be more time efficient if we would just trace it from projections. And it had its challenges. Number one, the stucco surface went through a lot of pencils, a lot of markers, but also with an overhead projector, you tend to get distortion. So I had to do a lot of manual repairing of the actual image using level sticks and what have you, a lot of measuring and such. So it did take a long time, if I recall, 50 hours or so of total transfer of the design. And the first 2 nights was my daughter Nadia and I, and the third night of it was my wife Jackie and myself. There are some jobs I would do a paper pattern, and it's basically what the old billboard painters used to use. We're actually projecting your scaled image on the paper, tracing it. If it's a light surface, you're using a charcoal powder, and you sort of pat it on those holes and rub it in. You pull the paper, and there's your image on the wall. It's great for smaller jobs. It's great for text, and I did use the paper pattern method on all the names in the Opera House stars. But as far as the overall image, I found projection to be more, time efficient.
As for the section, which I'm dubbing section number 2, the Opera House, very neat facility. The architecture behind it, the colors in it, it's truly a gem of Woodstock.
And if you stand and take a picture in front of the rendering that Mark Adamany did of the Opera House, you look like you're standing in front of the Opera House. I mean, it's breathtaking, the quality of the work that he's painted.
I will say this, I'd like to know who ordered up the heat, because today's extremely hot and it's not the most pleasant weather to work with. Most of the jobs I do are interior, and a lot of them I paint in my studio, so I have the comfort of heat in the cold months and air in the hot months, but it's part of the game. Anytime you do an outdoor piece, you're going to have to deal with the elements.
It was really neat here in Woodstock specifically. The people showed all kinds of appreciation. Young and old, kids, old people. And it was also neat in regards to the fact that I was able to educate people. Even some people from around this area had no clue of Orson Welles' ties to Woodstock, or they didn't know, wow, that star played at the Opera House. There were days when, you just want to work and get it done and go home, but, it's part of the deal. It made every day a unique day, because you never knew who you were going to run into.
I'm doing this for the glory, not for the money. The reason I'm doing it for the glory is because I'm not getting paid for it. So it's a gift, But for me, it's an honor, and it will be there long after I'm gone, probably, literally. It's going to be there for years and years. I think it's a good thing for Woodstock. And there'll be a lot of pictures made in front of that mural. And we're going to have a lot of visitors, I think, as a result of that.
After 61 days of painting over the last 3 months, 24 gallons of paint, and all 9,372 Opera House bricks. Ooh, that's a story unto itself. We conquered.
I've been doing this for 35 years, and I still don't get it. There's art, and then there's design. And I've never been able to distinguish between the two.
I know I'm good at what I do, but that came with a lot of years of practice and a lot of aggressive marketing early on of being able to be given the chance and develop a style.
First of all, creativity is a function of courage, in my opinion. Confronting a blank piece of paper, it takes courage to do that.
I'm not shy when it comes to paint on a canvas, on a wall, on stucco, on brick, concrete, you name it. When I start a project, I know exactly what it's going to look like when it's done. Now, sometimes I challenge myself. It's like, oh, geez, how am I going to get there? You know, but I figure it out. No, there are other great artists out there, but really in the end, it's being the best I can be. And I've set a high bar for myself. If you come along me painting a mural or any painting and you see me signing it, then you can with confidence go, he's done.
I want everything that I do to be beautiful. Even if the client doesn't know, I know. But to do something, to do your best, you have to noodle it and you have to think about it, you have to change it. And that all burns up your budget. That costs you money. And I'm willing to pay for that. And I care, even if no one else cares, I care. It's hard to get clients, it's hard to get paid. It's hard to get just decent fees. You know, when you're starting out, it's hard. But you're going to get a level of satisfaction that few people get out of their work. So what I say about, I say this is a tough business, but a really great way of life. I can't think of anything that I would rather do than this.